Exposed, the incredible truth how a janitor's one act of kindness changed a girl's life forever. In the sleepy town of Maplewood, dreams flickered like street lamps in the fog, faint and delicate against the weight of the world. Among the shadows sat Emily, a 17-year-old high school senior. She was a fighter, persevering against the odds, but lately, the fight had become unbearable. With her mother grinding away at 2 jobs and her father nowhere to be found, the burden of financial struggles loomed large over her shoulders. Watching her classmates plan for college while her grades slipped sent Emily into a spiral of disappointment, her once bright aspirations dimming like a dying ember. But in the background, unnoticed by the throng of bustling students, was Joe, the janitor. To many, he was just a man with a mop, invisible like the fog that enveloped the streets at dusk. Yet, he embodied quiet strength, having crafted a life from grit and humble beginnings. He knew hardship, and when he saw Emily in the library, tears glistening in her eyes, something stirred within him. One day, as he emptied trash bins and swept floors, he paused by her table. "Hey," he said gently, almost hesitantly, "I just wanted to say, you're really smart. I've seen you working hard. You've got potential, you know." His words hung in the air, heavy with sincerity. Emily looked up, startled. For a moment, her heart swelled with the warmth of his kind, unassuming praise, a spark igniting her flickering dreams. It was a lifeline thrown into her stormy sea. Encouraged, Emily began to immerse herself in her studies again, her resolve hardening like steel. The friendship that blossomed between them was filled with laughter and stories, the kind that bridged wide gaps, revealing shared struggles and hopes. Just when it felt like Emily was rising, a family emergency struck. Her mother fell ill, and the weight of financial pressures crashed down harder than ever. The thought of college felt like a joke, a cruel twist of fate. Panic tight in her chest, she rushed to Joe, her mentor and friend, spilling her worries like a glass of broken dreams. Joe listened intently, his heart aching for her. "I get it, Emily. I've been there. You can't let this define you. There's a scholarship that you should really consider." His voice was steady but filled with an understanding that spoke volumes. Yet deep down, both Emily and Joe realized that the bridge to this opportunity was riddled with the prejudices of their close-knit community. Could she really go for it? The idea felt daunting, like standing on the edge of a cliff, staring down into uncertainty. As the deadline loomed, Emily prepared for the scholarship panel, her nerves fraying faster than a worn-out string. Every heartbeat sounded like a thunderclap in her ears, each breath a reminder of what was at stake. Yet, through the swirl of anxiety, she glimpsed Joe's supportive smile in the audience, and suddenly, everything tightened into focus. Could she find her voice against the towering expectations? As she stepped forward, the room thick with anticipation, Emily took a deep breath. Doubt whispered in her ear, but the memories of Joe's kindness surged to life, pushing her forward. What would happen when she finally faced the panel? Would her fears choke her, or would this be the moment she finally claimed her power? The dream that flickered dimly in the fog suddenly felt like it could burst into flame. Emily stood rigid at the front of the room, the lights glaring down as if the weight of the world existed solely in this space. The panelists, each with serious faces, shifted their papers, their eyes scanning her as she stood there, heart racing, palms sweating. The murmurs faded into a dull hum, a vast ocean of sound, as her gaze focused on Joe, sitting quietly in the back. His reassuring nod pushed her on. The first question broke through her whirlwind of thoughts, echoing in her mind. "Emily, can you tell us about a challenge you faced and how you overcame it?" Just like that, she was transported back to the moments of despair, the night spent studying under the dim light of a flickering bulb, her mother collapsed on the couch, and the weight of the bills screaming for attention. But what if she didn't just share her struggles? What if she revealed the strength she found within? "I've faced challenges, yes," she began, her voice trembling then growing steady, "but every struggle taught me resilience." She felt those words resonate with the truths of her life, each syllable pushing her higher. Emily shared her story, detailing how Joe's kind words ignited a flicker of hope within her. How his unwavering belief in her potential fueled her drive to fight for something better. She watched the panel members take notes, their frowns softening slightly, as if they, too, were being drawn into her journey. But just when her confidence surged, a question pierced the air like a lightning bolt. "Emily, some might say your background makes you less qualified for this scholarship. What do you say to those who judge you based on your circumstances?" A wave of embarrassment flushed through her. Could she voice the truth anymore? In that heartbeat, doubt screeched its loudest. But then she remembered Joe's words, the way he lifted her spirits when darkness threatened to swallow her whole. She swallowed hard, feeling the weight in her chest transform into an anchor of resolve. "Everyone has a story," she responded, holding each panelist's gaze. "Mine may not fit the mold, but it shapes who I am. I want to let my past define my future. This scholarship represents more than just an opportunity, it's a chance to show that anyone can rise, no matter where they come from." She felt a spark deep inside. The words flowed freely now, powered by her truth, by those long nights and fleeting hopes. As she finished, she sought out Joe's face again, seeking that familiar reassurance. He was beaming, his pride palpable even from across the room. For the first time in a long while, Emily felt her pulse slow like the storm inside her, calmed by the very realization that she was exactly where she was meant to be. "Thank you, Emily," one of the panelists said softly. But just as relief washed over her, the moment took another turn. The door behind her opened, a sudden commotion interrupting the solemnity of the room. Emily turned to see a familiar face, her mother, frail yet radiating fierce determination, standing there with tears in her eyes. It was a sight that sent her heart racing anew, a complex chorus of fear and joy crashing together. What if her mother had come to support her or to reveal something utterly unexpected? Emily's world tipped precariously as questions churned within her. Could this moment go from triumph to turmoil in an instant? As she stood still, the room seemed to retreat into silence once more, caught in the tension of an unfolding story, waiting to see what would happen next. Emily's heart thudded wildly against her ribs. As her mother stood there, the raw emotions on her face told a story of their own. The panelists' eyes shifted between the two of them, uncertainty hanging thick in the air. Silence ruled the moment, stretching on like an eternity, allowing Emily to absorb the weight of her mother's presence. "Mom." She finally managed to whisper, surprising even herself with the tremor in her voice. Her mother stepped forward, hesitating for a moment before breaking into a soft, loving smile that contrasted with the tears streaming down her cheeks. "I came as soon as I could, darling. I couldn't miss this." There was a collective intake of breath from the panel. Emily felt a rush of warmth and dread intertwining in her chest. Was this what she needed right now? Would her mother's presence bolster her strength or unravel her composure? Brief flashes of home filled her mind, the worry marred across her mother's brow during sleepless nights, the smell of burnt toast at breakfast, and the telltale shuffle of her feet as she tidied up after another chaotic day. The head panelist, a woman with spectacles perched precariously on her nose, broke the spell of silence. "Emily, are you okay? Would you like to continue?" She nodded, though her eyes were glued to her mother. "Yes, please. Just give me a moment." The room seemed to fade as she locked eyes with her mom. She could see the effort it took for her to stand straight, to maintain that brave facade, even amid the fragility. "I'm proud of you," her mother mouthed, and the simple act sparked another surge of energy inside Emily. Choosing to rise to the occasion, Emily took a deep breath. "My journey is not just mine," she declared, her voice finding a steady rhythm. "It's our journey. My mom taught me to fight through adversity. To stand tall against voices that tell me I'm not worthy. Without her, I wouldn't be here today." She glanced back at the panel, who seemed to be hanging on her words. "I know there are people out there who think my past defines my potential. But I won't allow that. This scholarship means breaking free from those judgments. It means giving a voice to every underdog who feels overlooked. A fire ignited in her chest, igniting her resolve. A murmur wafted through the crowd, an echo of shared emotions. She could feel the intimacy, the connection between all present, as though they were all riding the same wave of hope. Then, another unexpected twist jolted the atmosphere. A soft crashing sound followed by hurried whispers bounced around the room. Emily turned toward the source, eyes wide. The janitor, Mr. Jenkins, stood just outside the doorway, mop in one hand and a small cardboard box in the other. He looked mortified, as if he hadn't meant to intrude on something so pivotal yet couldn't resist the pull to witness it. "Sorry about the noise," he stammered, but his kind eyes sparkled with encouragement. I believe in you, Emily." The whole room fell into silence once more, all eyes on the man who was often overlooked. In that moment, she understood. Every glance, every whisper weaved into the narrative of her life. She felt compelled to acknowledge him, to address what it meant to have someone believe in her. "Mr. Jenkins," she called out, feeling a swell of gratitude and connection. "Thank you. Your kindness means more than you know." Emily sensed a shift, the air thickening with emotion as the panelists exchanged glances, visibly moved. Could this be the turning point she never saw coming? The same man she barely noticed sweeping the hallways now stood as a symbol of hope, like a lighthouse in a storm. The uncertainty transformed into inspiration, possibilities blooming in her heart. What would this mean for her future? Would she leverage this moment not just for herself, but for others as well? She caught the gaze of her mother, who also shared in the realization that this was more than just a pitch for a scholarship. It was a lesson in solidarity, awakening a strength deep within her. As the panel reconsidered, Emily couldn't escape the feeling that her journey had merely begun. With all eyes upon her, she asked the question that hung in the air like a whisper between friends. What is it going to take for us to believe in one another truly? And as the murmurs of contemplation rippled across the room, she wondered if anyone, including herself, was ready to answer. Emily felt as if time stood still. The air in the room crackled with unspoken tension. Every glare shifted back to her, and she held her breath, waiting for someone to step forward. The panelists whispered among themselves, their brows knit in contemplation. Emily, the head panelist, finally spoke, her voice steady yet gentle. "Can we have a moment to discuss your response?" Feeling vulnerable, Emily nodded. The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in. She stole a last glance at her mother, who stood still like a rock, her eyes shimmering with unfiltered pride. As the panelists huddled together, murmurs floated in her direction. She could only catch snippets. Words like resilience, inspiring, and powerful washed over her, warming her heart but also filling her with dread. What if this wasn't enough? What if they couldn't see the truth in her experiences? Her thoughts spiraled. Memories flickered like scenes from an old film, moments of heartache, of laughter, of growth. It was all so raw. Suddenly, the head panelist returned, the uncertainty in her posture evident. "Emily," she began, the weight of the moment pressing down on them all. "Your journey resonates deeply with us. But can you tell us more about how you plan to use this scholarship if granted?" The question surged through her like lightning. It was time to clarify her mission. "This scholarship isn't just about me getting an education. It's about empowering others. I want to start a program in our school where students can share their stories, just like I did today. I want everyone to feel like they have a voice, that they matter, no matter where they come from." As the words spilled out of her, she noticed Mr. Jenkins still lingering at the edge of the room. With a nod from her, he stepped closer, his face imbued with a blend of anxiety and encouragement. "And Mr. Jenkins," she added, her heart racing, "made me realize the power of belief. Sometimes the most incredible support comes from unexpected places." Mr. Jenkins blushed, but his eyes sparkled with awe. The panelists watched this dynamic unfold, and she could almost see them recalibrating their judgment. "Are you ready to lead like this, to advocate for others?" The head panelist challenged, raising an eyebrow. Yes, Emily replied fiercely. It's not just about grabbing the opportunity for myself. I want to leave a legacy of kindness and understanding. I want to show others they're not alone. Her conviction echoed in the chamber, reverberating against the walls, and she could see even the most stoic panelist nodding slightly. The murmurs resumed, hushed voices mixing with emotions. Eyes glistened with pride, doubt dissipating like fog in sunlight. As the panelists discussed her words once more, Emily felt her mother's love washing over her like a warm blanket. She believed in her. And alongside that belief came the realization that she wasn't alone in this fight. But then, the unexpected happened. The head panelist raised a finger, signaling silence. Emily, before we finalize our decision, there is something we must address. The entire room fell into an expectant hush. What could it be? Her heart raced as the weight of attention pressed down once again. Emily readied herself, emotions swirling in a storm inside her. Her mind raced, battling uncertainty and hope. What revelation lay ahead, and how would it redefine everything she'd just poured her heart into? With the outcome still hanging in the balance, she anxiously awaited the next words that would either grant her dream or reshape her path entirely. The head panelist cleared her throat, her gaze firm yet compassionate. Emily, your passion is evident, but we were taken by surprise when we reviewed your application. You mentioned a pivotal moment involving a janitor. Can you elaborate on that? Emily felt a jolt. The janitor was a thread woven into her story that she hadn't fully shared yet. She shifted her stance, feeling the room's attention intensify, all eyes on her. Of course, she began, drawing a deep breath to steady the tremor in her voice. His name is Mr. Reynolds. Everyone regarded him as just the janitor. But it was during a tough time in my life when he saw me at my lowest, sitting alone in the hallway. Emily paused, recalling the moment vividly, the dim, flickering lights overhead, the echoing silence of the vacant corridor. Tears pricked at her eyes as she continued. He had just finished cleaning and was about to leave when he stopped. He didn't have to notice me. But he did. He sat beside me and just listened. No judgment. No agenda. He made me feel like I mattered. The room fell silent, everyone hanging on her words. He told me his own story about how kindness, no matter how small, can change someone's world. That day, he gave me hope. He reminded me that we all have the power to uplift each other, no matter our circumstances. The panelists leaned in, visibly moved. Emily noticed her mother's eyes glistening in the corner of her vision, the undeniable pride swelling in her chest. Was this the connection they needed to understand her? Mr. Reynolds didn't just clean our school, he built a bridge with his kindness, Emily pressed on. He is the very embodiment of why I want to ensure that every student feels seen and heard. His act changed my life, and I want to inspire others to do the same. A moment passed, heavy with emotion. The panelists exchanged meaningful glances, exchanging murmurs that filled the air like a heartbeat. Someone coughed, breaking the tension, but a tangible warmth lingered. Emily could feel the atmosphere shift, they were opening up to her truth. Suddenly, the head panelist leaned forward, her expression earnest. Emily, thank you for sharing that. You've shown us not just your story, but a reflection of the impact we can have on each other. But there is one more thing we need to disclose. Her heart sank. What now? A sense of foreboding crept in, a tight grasp around her chest. What is it? She managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. The panelist took a deep breath, looking around at her colleagues as if gathering strength. We believe your vision is powerful, and we want to ensure you can execute it. However, there are stipulations involved with this scholarship. You would be taking on significant responsibilities to ensure not only your success but that of others. A myriad of thoughts exploded in her mind: responsibilities, expectations. Could she handle it all? But instead of flinching at the weight, a new spark ignited in Emily. I'm ready, she declared, her voice steady. Whatever it takes. I want not just a chance for me, but for all the kids like Mr. Reynolds inspired. Just tell me what you need from me. The panelists exchanged glances again, their expressions revealing intrigue and respect. The air buzzed with uncharted possibilities, and for the first time, Emily believed they were considering her not just as a candidate, but as a leader. As she started to absorb what this could mean, the room pulsed with expectation, and a question hung in the air. What responsibilities awaited her, and would she truly have the strength to rise to the occasion? The head panelist's voice cut through Emily's thoughts, startling her back to the moment. All right, Emily. Let us discuss what those responsibilities might entail. Emily could barely catch her breath. Her heart raced, not out of fear, but from the thrill of possibility. Responsibilities meant opportunities. Opportunities meant change. She leaned forward, eager to learn what lay ahead. We want you to launch an initiative, something tangible that embodies the spirit of connection you spoke of, the panelist explained. You'll mentor fellow students, work alongside faculty, and build a program that allows everyone to share their stories. We're looking for innovation, creativity, and most importantly, empathy. The vision of what she could create sent a wave of energy surging through her. But then reality settled in. That sounds amazing, but what if I can't manage it all? Doubt seeped in, whispering in her ear like an unwelcome shadow. Every journey begins with a single step, another panelist chimed in gently, their eyes warm, encouraging. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, but remember, you're not alone in this. You'll have support, and we'll check in on your progress regularly. Think of this as a collaborative effort, one where you lead, but also learn. The room buzzed with glimmers of hope, but the weight of responsibility loomed large. She felt something inside click. Together, we can make a difference. That's how Mr. Reynolds helped me. His kindness wasn't grandstanding, it was rooted in simplicity. I can do this. Exactly, the head panelist agreed, a smile breaking on her face. You've already demonstrated your strength during this interview. Your passion struck a chord with us, and it's clear you understand what it means to uplift others. Emily glanced at her mom again, who wore an encouraging smile. She felt her nervousness melting away, replaced by excitement. Could she really transform her vision into reality? Could she be like Mr. Reynolds, someone whose actions, even small, could ripple outwards and change lives? Okay, Emily said, firm in her resolve. Let us do this. I want to make sure no one feels invisible again. Great. We can start with drafting a proposal. The panelist jotted down notes, exercising a calm authority. Then you'll present it to the faculty at the end of next month. We want to see your plan in action. A wave of adrenaline coursed through her. As the implications of that request settled in, a small smile crept onto Emily's lips. This was it. Her chance to embrace the change she so fervently desired. But a gnawing thought crept back in. What if my ideas aren't good enough? What if I fail? Remember, it's a process, the panelist reassured her, sensing her internal struggle. Every mistake is a lesson. Embrace them. Use them to fuel your passion. Emily nodded, feeling more empowered. Her heart swelled with determination, but her mind buzzed with questions. How would she gather the stories and experiences of her peers? What if their hurdles were bigger than she anticipated? Will I really be able to reach them the way Mr. Reynolds reached me? She whispered to herself, a spark of uncertainty flickering in her heart. Are you ready to take on this journey? The panelist asked, breaking through her reverie. With a deep breath, Emily straightened her back. Yes. I'm ready. As they wrapped up the meeting, the sky outside transformed into a canvas of colors, reflecting hope and new beginnings. But even as sleeves were rolled up and plans were laid, doubts lingered in the shadows. Emily had made a promise not just to herself, but to every voice that felt unseen. Could she really be the change she wanted to see? With her goals set, she wondered how soon she would have to face the actual challenges of her initiative. Would she rally enough support? Would her fears stand in her path? As the panelists began to stand and gather their things, the next chapter loomed ahead. What awaited her on the other side of this commitment? Emily walked out of the meeting, her heart still racing. The chatter of the panelists faded, replaced by the fluttering of her thoughts. What had she just committed to? Her mind felt like a whirlwind of possibilities and pressure. She stepped outside, the cool breeze brushing against her skin, as if welcoming her into a wider world. Her mom was waiting, an expectant smile on her face. "How did it go?" she asked, eyes twinkling with pride. Emily grinned, excitement bubbling up. "I'm going to lead a new initiative. They want me to create a program to help students share their stories." The words came tumbling out, her initial fear replaced by the sheer thrill of what lay ahead. "That's incredible." Her mom enveloped her in a hug, squeezing her tight. "I knew you could do it." But as the embrace loosened, Emily's resolve faltered once more. Her mom's enthusiasm was infectious, yet it felt like a weight pressed on her shoulders. "But what if I don't know how to do it? What if the program doesn't help anyone?" "You won't know until you try, sweetheart. Remember what you said about Mr. Reynolds. Sometimes, even a small act can make a big impact." Her mom's eyes held steady reassurance. Taking a deep breath, Emily nodded. She had so many ideas bubbling up, but could she really mold them into something meaningful? "Okay, I'll do my best." The drive home felt long, the winding roads mirroring her tangled thoughts. She pictured classrooms, hallways, and students she barely knew. Would they even want to share their stories? As they arrived, Emily paused at the front door. An idea cracked through her worry. Why not involve them directly in the process? That first night, she sat at the kitchen table, papers scattered around her, heart racing with excitement and fear. She grabbed her laptop and began to type. The proposal sprawled onto the screen, filled with dreams of connection and support, but still lacking the path to make it a reality. Late into the night, she lost herself in idea story-sharing workshops, art exhibits for expression, a blog where students could anonymously share experiences. She imagined the voices of those who often went unheard, the quiet kid in the back of the class, the transfer student struggling to fit in, the athlete whose injury sidelined him. Each one held a story worth telling, and she wanted to be the bridge that connected them. But just as her hope swelled, doubt crept back in, dark and whispered. Who am I to rally anyone? What if everyone thinks my ideas are stupid? Emily paced the kitchen, heart pounding against her chest. Suddenly, her phone buzzed on the table, pulling her from the spiral of anxiety. She picked it up. It was a text from Mia, her close friend. Hey. Just wanted to say I'm proud of you for going after this. Let's catch up soon. A warm rush spread through Emily. It was a small message, but it ignited a spark. Her world might not change overnight, but she had a support system. She wasn't alone in this. What if I ask Mia to help me with brainstorming? She thought. They could bounce ideas off each other, build momentum together. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Emily felt something shift inside her, a flicker of belief. But deep in her heart lingered a question: how would she approach her classmates? And in doing that, would she draw out their hidden stories like Mr. Reynolds had? Shivers of excitement and trepidation washed over her as she prepared to reach out. Could she really turn this vision into something real? The journey had just begun, and she could almost taste the promise of connection that lay ahead. But she knew that the hardest part was still waiting just around the corner. What would happen when she finally stepped out of her comfort zone to invite others into her dream? Emily's heart raced the next morning as she made her way through school. Every hallway corner felt like an adventure and a daunting challenge. Students hustled around her, faces bright with laughter or buried deep in their phones. It was everything she loved about school, but also a reminder of all those untold stories waiting beneath the surface. The bell rang, echoing through the building. She took a deep breath. Today, she'd begin her quest to draw her classmates out of their shells. Mia had agreed to meet during lunch, and the nerves kicked up a notch. They had to come up with a plan, something exciting enough to grab the attention of everyone. In the cafeteria, Emily spotted Mia at their usual table, her palm resting casually on the edge of a tray filled with half-eaten food. "Hey you!" Mia waved, her smile instantly easing the tension in Emily's chest. "Hey! Thanks for meeting me," Emily replied, sliding into her seat. "I've been thinking about how to start this whole initiative. I want it to be big. Like I want everyone to feel like their story matters." "Absolutely. What's your vision?" Mia leaned in, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Emily felt the words rise within her. "I was thinking about kickstarting it with a launch event. We could have a sign-up for workshops on storytelling and creative expression. Maybe we could get a poster up, something colorful, to attract attention." Mia nodded eagerly. "That sounds amazing. We could include art and music. Everyone loves that stuff." They spent the rest of lunch brainstorming. Ideas flowed like water, mixing in their imaginations: a storytelling competition, an open mic session, a project showcasing art inspired by personal narratives. Each suggestion sparked another one, and laughter echoed around them as their energy lifted. But deep down, Emily couldn't shake the nagging voice of doubt. Would it still work while reaching so many different types of students? "Can I tell you something?" Mia's voice broke through her thoughts. "I know it feels scary. But just remember, people want to connect and be heard. Your ideas are incredible, Em. I think if we build it, they will come." Emily's heart swelled. Her fears felt a little lighter in the face of Mia's unwavering belief. "Okay, so when do we start? How about today? Let's print out flyers tonight and get them around the school. We can even talk to Mr. Reynolds about helping us." The mention of Mr. Reynolds sent a spark through Emily. He'd understand the importance of their mission. He'd totally get it. Maybe he could even speak at the launch event. The two friends spent the rest of lunch crafting a plan, striking colors, bold letters, and personalized quotes that would resonate with the students. They scribbled notes on napkins and drew rough sketches, transforming lunchtime into a whirlwind of creativity. Later that day, their energy surged as they approached Mr. Reynolds in the teacher's lounge. He looked up from his coffee, his warm gaze inviting. "What's this I hear about an initiative?" he asked, setting his cup down. Emily took a deep breath. "We want to create a program that lets students share their stories. Can you help us?" He leaned back in his chair with a thoughtful expression. "You'd be surprised at how many stories people want to share. Let's brainstorm some ideas together." As they spoke for the next hour, a sense of purpose filled the air. Emily began to envision a tapestry of expressions woven together. Yet, there was still an undercurrent of nerves that rippled beneath her excitement. What if no one showed up? Would her friends and peers feel compelled to participate, or would she be left standing alone, looking out at a sea of blank faces? The thrill of possibility and fear intertwined within her, pushing her to take a leap. And with each step forward, she felt herself growing. The next day held the promise of connection, but Emily couldn't help but wonder, would it be enough to pull her classmates from the shadows and into the light? The morning of the launch event dawned with mixed emotions swirling in Emily's heart. As she threw open her curtains, sunlight flooded her room, illuminating posters of her favorite bands and art. It was supposed to be a day of excitement, yet she felt a knot forming in her stomach. After breakfast, she sat in front of the mirror, running a brush through her hair while contemplating all that could go wrong. What if no one came? What if the event flopped and her dreams of bringing her peers together crumbled? Deep down, she knew this was her chance to make an impact, yet every doubt clawed at her mind. "Just breathe," she whispered to herself, forcing a smile. "You've got this." At school, buzz filled the halls as students shuffled to their classes, unaware of the storm of creativity and vulnerability brewing in the cafeteria. Emily's previous excitement began to return, fueled by sparkles of hope. When the lunch bell rang, her heart danced in her chest. She and Mia had set up a colorful booth in the cafeteria, draped with vibrant banners they decrafted, thick with supportive phrases like, "Your story matters," and "Let us connect." They also arranged comfy cushions and a small stage for performances. As they straightened the last of the decorations, excitement began to bubble. "Look at all these students!" Mia exclaimed, eyes shining as they spotted familiar faces circling their booth. "I can't believe it." Emily nodded, her pulse quickening. "Let us do this," she said, reaching for the microphone. Her voice trembled slightly as she called the crowd over. "Hey everyone. We're so happy you're here. We want to create a space for you to share your stories and connect with one another." Her words caught the attention of students, some intrigued, others reluctant. Emily saw glances exchanged, waves of curiosity mixed with skepticism. But then, as she looked deeper, she noticed a few heads nodding, smiles beginning to form. "Who's ready to share?" she asked, her gaze searching through the crowd. She felt her heart skip as a few students stepped forward, hesitant hands raised. "We'll welcome anyone. You don't have to be perfect, just be yourself." Mia leaned in, her voice cheering on. "We have snacks, and we're here to listen." At that moment, the first brave girl stepped up to the mic, her hands shaking. As she began to share her story of struggle and resilience, Emily held her breath. The cafeteria fell silent. Everyone was drawn into her tale, the weight of her honesty resonating through the air. One by one, others began to join her, revealing pieces of their lives. Tears of vulnerability glistened in some eyes, laughter erupted in others as the tapestry Emily had envisioned started to weave itself. This was what she had wanted: a connection. A community. But as the stories unfolded, Emily's gaze landed on a man who had quietly slipped into the back of the cafeteria. It was Nathan, the school janitor. His friendly eyes glanced around the room, taking in the warmth and connection blossoming from the students. Emily's heart felt full, but then there was Nathan. He stood unnoticed, a shadow against the vibrant energy around him. Why was he here? Did he realize how important this moment was? Suddenly, the power of their initiative rushed into her mind. This event had gone beyond her expectations. And yet, a thought crept in: was everyone's story truly safe? Before Emily could think deeper, she caught Nathan's eye. He smiled, a small but genuine gesture that felt like an anchor amidst her swirling thoughts. There was something about him, something she felt compelled to explore. Why hadn't anyone reached out to him? As more stories filled the air, Emily found herself shifting focus. What if we invited everyone to share? She mused to Mia, her heart racing again, but with a different kind of adrenaline. Wouldn't that be powerful? Mia echoed, her voice laced with excitement. As the day unfolded, a spark ignited within Emily. The event was just beginning, but she sensed it needed something more. What story could Nathan share? Did he hold the wisdom to guide the hearts in the room? With a new mission before her, Emily couldn't help but think about the truth waiting to be uncovered. She turned back to the stage, feeling the pulse of possibility thrumming through her veins. Would they dare to include him? The room hummed with energy, stories flowing like sunlight into the cracks of a neglected foundation. Emily felt enveloped by camaraderie, a warm blanket of shared experiences that spoke of resilience and hope. As she looked around the cafeteria, the flicker of vulnerability had spread, granting everyone a voice, but then her gaze settled on Nathan the janitor and a new wave of thought surged through her. What if they invited him up? Would his story add a layer of depth to their initiative? Could he inspire those who needed it most? His quiet strength had already influenced her. Maybe it could reach others too. With her heart pounding, Emily grabbed the microphone, feeling the weight of 1,000 expectations resting on her shoulders. Hey everyone, she began, her voice satiny smooth yet ringing with urgency. I have an idea. What if we give Nathan, our amazing janitor, a chance to share his story? The cafeteria paused. A heartbeat of silence, and then a ripple of murmurings danced through the crowd. Emily gently turned to Nathan. Would you join us? A flicker of surprise danced across his face. He cleared his throat, shifting uncomfortably, but the extraordinary warmth of the crowd's gaze beckoned him closer. With small, hesitant steps, Nathan approached the stage. Emily's heart quickened. This was at the moment they had all been waiting for. Nathan took a deep breath, looking out over a sea of attentive faces. You all are so brave, he started, his voice low but strong. I've seen kindness in unexpected places, and today, you're all shining examples of that. His words flowed, revealing stories from years spent in the school, cleaning floors while lifting heavy hearts. He spoke of moments when he saw students struggling and wished he could do more than just the janitorial work. You see, every time I picked up a piece of trash, I'd hoped to sweep away someone's pain, he confessed, his voice breaking slightly. Emily felt a wellspring of emotion stir within her, a rush of gratitude mixed with the knowledge that they were all interconnected. Nathan continued, sharing how he recognized each student as a dreamer, with aspirations, yet weighed down by trials. If you learn one thing today, remember that kindness can be transformative, he concluded, his gaze scanning the faces that glistened with tears and refocused determination. You all hold the power to uplift one another. The room erupted in applause, hearts swelling like balloons ready to float into the dawn. Emily beamed, seeing Nathan's shyness faded in the warmth of acceptance. In that moment, she knew they had achieved something monumental. A bridge was built, connection forged, and each story shared became a part of something bigger. As the event wound down, hordes of students mingled, exchanging thoughts and emotions, forming new friendships born from understanding. Laughter rang through the cafeteria as students began to leave, but Emily lingered near the stage, her mind racing with visions of the next steps. If they could create this sense of community, what else could they achieve together? Nathan approached her, his face glowing with the pride of participation. You've started something special, Emily, he said, a parental warmth radiating from him. You've shown what it means to be seen, to be heard. Keep this going. Thank you for sharing your story, Nathan. It meant so much, Emily replied, her voice brimming with gratitude. You made a difference today. The connection between them felt tangible now. She could see the joy in his eyes, the understanding that sometimes people just needed someone to believe in them. As Emily helped with the cleanup, plots and plans for future events danced through her mind. She envisioned workshops that focused on mentorship, integrating Nathan's vision into a regular program. There was so much potential here. That evening, the sun dipped behind the horizon, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold. Emily reflected on the day's triumphs, mentally mapping out ways to build on the momentum they'd created. Could she seek out local community leaders? Could Nathan help carve a path forward for outreach? The thought twisted into delight, she could rally support outside the school walls. Her mom's embrace from earlier echoed in her mind, the relentless belief she had in Emily's potential. Just try, she had said, but it was more than that. It was an unwavering faith like the light that flickered within every living soul waiting to ignite. As she lay in bed that night, gratitude washed over her, filling her heart to the brim. She was no longer just a girl from Maplewood burdened by expectations. She was a beacon, part of a larger narrative, pushing forth into the depths of community. She felt the dreams rise again, not just for herself but for everyone around her. In the coming days, Emily would work diligently to pass on the torch of those stories, expanding this flickering flame into a roaring fire that could encapsulate the hopes of many. She was ready to embrace tomorrow, no longer shivering on the cliff of doubt. No, she would leap forward, transforming not just her path, but numerous lives into something more brilliant than ever imagined. The stories she would gather, all the spoken, silenced, or hidden narratives would weave the community together. And her heart raced with the thrill of knowing she had more than just her dreams. She had a mission. Every voice mattered and she would make sure they all knew it. And just like that, with a bright and determined smile, she settled into the profound stillness, ready for what lay ahead. Together, they would create a legacy fueled by understanding, kindness, and the beauty of connection. This was their moment, their journey had just begun. Now is the time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and empower you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for these incredible stories. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Let's share our thoughts. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and feel the connection too. You need to be a part of this community. Don't wait not even one more second to share.